What your plants actually need there is something in gardening that almost everyone believes without ever questioning it, from beginners to experienced growers, from backyard gardeners to commercial farms. It sounds logical, it feels scientific, and it has been repeated so many times that it became a rule. If you want bigger plants, if you want faster growth, if you want better results, just add fertilizer, more nutrients, more growth. Simple. But what if that idea is completely misunderstood? What if the very thing people rely on to grow their plants is actually the reason their plants never reach their full potential? Because here's the truth. No one talks about plants don't eat fertilizer, not the way you think, and once you understand this, the way you see plant growth will never be the same again. You walk into a garden center, you see bags with numbers printed on them: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, promises of faster growth, greener leaves, bigger harvests, and you believe it because it makes sense. Plants need nutrients. Fertilizer contains nutrients, so fertilizer feeds plants. But that's not how it works. Not even close. Plants don't absorb fertilizer as a product. They absorb microscopic ions dissolved in water, invisible, silent, unseen, and those ions don't come from the fertilizer itself, they come from the soil, breaking things down from life inside the soil, from bacteria, from fungi, from organic matter, slowly decomposing from a living system working beneath the surface. But most people never think about the soil. They focus only on what they can see: leaves, the height, the color. So when growth slows down, they assume something is missing, and the first instinct is always the same: add more fertilizer, little more, then a little more, because if some is good, more must be better, right? But then something strange starts to happen. The plant doesn't improve. In fact, it becomes weaker. Leaves start to lose their natural balance. Growth becomes uneven. The plant looks alive, but not thriving, and this is where confusion begins, because everything looks right on the surface. There is sunlight, there is water, there are nutrients. So why is the plant not growing the way it should? Why does it feel stuck? Why does it look like it has potential but never fully reaches it? The answer is hidden in something most people never see. The soil is no longer alive because every time synthetic fertilizer is added in excess, something slowly changes. Underground salt begins to build up, not the kind you see clearly, but enough to affect the balance. The natural microorganisms, the ones responsible for breaking down nutrients, start to disappear. The soil becomes compact, lifeless, and active. And now, even though nutrients are present, the plant cannot access them properly. It's like placing food in front of someone, but taking away their ability to eat. Everything is there, but nothing is being used. And instead of fixing the real problem, most people respond the only way they know: they add even more fertilizer, trying to force growth to fix something they don't fully understand. But
is this a joke?
the more they add, the worse it gets, because the issue was never the lack of nutrients, it was the condition of the soil. Healthy soil is not just dirt, it's an entire ecosystem of organisms working together, breaking down organic matter, releasing nutrients, slowly balance it, breathes it, holds structure it, allows roots to expand naturally. But when that system is ignored and replaced with quick fixes, everything begins to collapse, silently at first. The plant doesn't show it still looks green, it still stands upright, but deep below the surface, the roots are struggling, not growing freely, expanding the way they should. They become restricted, dependent, weaker over time, and that's when growth stops, not because the plant doesn't want to grow, but because it can't. And this is the part most people never realize. The goal was never to feed the plant directly. The goal was always to build a system where the plant can feed itself naturally, slowly, consistently, without stress. Because in nature, no one adds fertilizer. Forests grow massive trees. Plants thrive in harsh conditions, not because someone is feeding them nutrients every week, but because the soil is alive, rich with organic matter, full of microorganisms, balanced in a way that supports life. And that's the difference between forcing growth and allowing growth. Creates short-term results, the other creates long-term strength. And once you see this, you start to notice something interesting. Some of the healthiest plants are not the ones getting constant fertilizer, the ones growing in rich, natural soil where everything is working together. Nothing is forced, where growth feels effortless. And that's the shift instead of asking what fertilizer should I use, the better question becomes what is happening in my soil. Is it alive? Is it balanced? Is it supporting the plant or working against it? Because once the soil is right, everything else becomes easier. Water works better, roots grow deeper, nutrients become available naturally, and suddenly the plant that once felt stuck starts to grow again, not aggressively but steadily, naturally, the way it was always meant to. And that's when you realized the problem was never what you were adding, it was what you were missing. Not another product, not another solution, but an understanding that growth doesn't come from forcing it, comes from supporting the system behind it. And the moment you stop trying to control every outcome and start focusing on the foundation, everything changes. The plant becomes stronger, more resilient, independent, and you don't need to keep fixing problems because they stop appearing in the first place. And maybe that's the biggest shift of all, realizing that sometimes the best thing you can do for your plant is not to add more but to step back and fix what truly matters below the surface, where real growth begins.